Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Secretary Salazar and Deputy Secretary Hayes. Thank you for coming to the committee. I think Mr. Kildee said it best when talking about MMS, that a concern that there may be a culture that leads this agency to be a dysfunctional agency. And this is a bipartisan problem. I mean, this has occurred not simply over the last administration, but the administration before that. And so my concern is that this goes beyond the consideration of ethics. I mean, it is to competence. As everything I read about this agency is that it has done, it in fact contributed to the very crisis that we have today. That its lax oversight has led us to the point that we are today, and that I'm glad to hear that we're in agreement that it is vital to the United States to develop these offshore energy resources, and certainly that we're in agreement that it is necessary to balance the concerns of the economic needs of this country with safety and environmental concerns. And I don't think, based on what I've heard, and I look forward to the testimony of the Inspector General later on today, that MMS is capable of doing this job going forward. And there is no question that there needs to be reorganization of this entity, separating the revenue of the royalties side of this organization from the safety and the environmental enforcement side of it. But I also believe, given the history of this organization, given the fact that there hasn't been the necessary leadership from the Department of the Interior in terms of their ability to turn this around to where the American people can have confidence that we can do offshore oil development safely and environmentally in a sound way, that it needs to be moved outside, that these functions need to be reorganized and moved outside the Department of the Interior. And Mr. Salazar, when you say, I've been on this job since day one, that's since April 20th of 2010. But I don't think that you've been on this job from January 20th of 2009 when it comes to cleaning up this mess in this department. And so those are my concerns. And so, you know, maybe you can certainly tell me what assurances you can give to the American people that going forward that you can change really what is an incredible dysfunctional agency, that what is different, what is going to be different going forward in this agency, in MMS. When you were the new sheriff in town on January 20th, 2009, and you haven't been able to make a difference, obviously, given the fact that we're in a crisis situation right now, in terms of going forward.
Congressman and former Treasurer Mike Coffman, I will say this, that the employees of this department and the history of this department and the history of this Congress and the development of the Outer Continental Shelf has included the development of over 36,000 wells in the Gulf of Mexico without this kind of an incident. And so when you look back at the history and the safety record, there has been a lot of good, and the energy that you have consumed and your constituents have consumed and everybody else has consumed, some 30% of it, the domestic production, actually comes from the Gulf of Mexico. Now, that having been said, there is no doubt that there does need to be reform of this agency, and we have made major reforms, including the elimination of the royalty in kind program, the ethics standards that we have put in place, the ethics personnel, and we have requested and have been in front of this committee, testifying in front of Chairman Rahal, that the need for organic legislation is something that we need to embrace. So my own view on it, Mike, is very simple. You have great agencies in the Department of Interior, an agency, a cabinet position established back in 1849. And you have organizations within the agency like the United States Geological Survey, the United States Fish and Wildlife Service, the National Park Service, and other agencies. We can do the same thing with a newly created agency that can manage these areas in our oceans so that we can safely develop renewable energy as well as safely develop our oil and gas resources. That is my position, and that will be my position as we move forward and we learn the lessons from this incident.
Mr. Chairman, I yield back.